Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode number 47 here in the Systematic Factory. My mining armada is out doing its job, and if we look at our achievement for mining the gap, we are very close. 240,000 kilograms to go. Each one of our rockets, if they're at a place that has enough, will come back with 12 tons. So couple more rounds of them going out and mining and we'll be done with that achievement. I did have to make some changes. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because I want to move on to something else, but the setup I had for oxalate just wasn't working, and I want to show you why. But first I want to show you how I have the this finished. Oh, I missed building a block in here, so this is not, he's not getting his room bonus. So they do, but just luxury barracks instead of a private bedroom. Oh, and he had enough to fix it. Awesome. So let's go. Bird person was the first rocket I built, so let's show this one off for the one that I made changes to. So as you can see, I have redesigned this quite a bit. There is storage bins full of oxalate up here in the top of the room now, and what I had happening before is I had shipping rails that went all through, and then a conveyor loader that he loaded oxalate into, or somebody did, and then it stayed in. My thought was that it would be like free storage in the background because the shipping rails would hold the oxalate. The problem is, and I didn't understand this until now, but I do now for future projects, when the stuff is sitting on conveyor rails, if it's not moving, it is considered as debris, like it's sitting on the floor, and oxalate, when it's debris, if it's in a space that doesn't have 1.8 kilograms of pressure, it off-gasses. So when we'd have little pockets of carbon dioxide like this moving through, like 50 grams or whatever, and it would pass over any spot on that conveyor rail, it would off-gas. And that's why I was getting a room that had a lot of gas in it. And normally it wouldn't be an issue. We would just be overpressurized with oxygen. They'd get popped eardrums, everything would be fine. But because we have this gas pump that pumps the gas through the cabin and sends out these little tiny bits, but we have a 2 kilogram vent here, that means that it would overpressurize, the oxygen wouldn't go back into the cabin, it would come out and it would very slowly leak out into space, and we would burn through all of our oxalate on one trip, and when they came back there wouldn't be enough time for people to refill the oxalate, and our duplicate would eventually run out of oxygen. Now we have 20 tons here, we have another 20 tons here. They're slowly getting filled up every time that the rocket lands. I did increase the time when rockets land. They have 5 cycles before they try to launch again, and the way it works with this setup is that after 5 cycles, it'll send a green signal. If the rocket is not ready, so like I don't have enough diamond in it, or whatever reason is preventing it from getting a ready to launch status, when the cycle counter goes over again, it'll reset this back, and then it'll be 5 more cycles before it attempts to launch again. So there's like a big window for people to come in and restock everything. It doesn't check to see that there's oxalate inside. I didn't set up any automation for that, but because we have such large stores, as long as once every 5 or 6 trips somebody gets in there and puts in some more oxalate, they can keep going forever. I also really increased our oxalate production. Not all of these are actually running, but they basically, any excess oxygen we have, so our oxygen gets fed into our base, keeps the oxygen here. Any excess that goes into our atmosuits that can't be used gets sent out into this line, and this line pulls half of the oxygen that's going to this system out and feeds it into these refineries. These are all completely automated because the gold is brought up through conveyor lines, and so they can just sit here and just make oxalate all day long without any duplicate interaction, and then the duplicates can come along and grab oxalate from here to take it where they need to go all day long. And the idea is that over time, these will eventually build up and then the automation will shut it off. But for now, we have an infinite source of gold with our gold volcano. We have a couple hundred tons of gold sitting there, and we have an infinite source of oxygen from here. And so we're just turning it into oxalite and having plenty of oxalite stored so that once these fill up and our rockets are coming in, the duplicants will just have to grab a whole bunch of it at once, put it in the rocket, and it will keep things filled. For now, they're just taking trickling little amounts whenever they can. There's no rockets that need any oxalate now, so they're not even bothering with it. So it's just stockpiling, but the rockets come in and out all the time. So these two rockets I have disabled for now because I am getting ready to do our next project. And so today what we're going to be working on is colonizing some more planetoids. And so I think we need, for the achievement, we need to get a printing pod on 5 of them. We already have on Gasista, we already put down a rocket platform. So all we need to do is land one here, have somebody come out, put down a mini pod so that we can have a base here and activate it. And then they can leave. I don't know that we're going to do anything on here because I'm not going to really do much with the gassy moos. And the only vent on here is chlorine. So basically, I think we're just going to come over here and get down a printing pod. We already grabbed the artifacts from here. They're back at Dampial. We need to start organizing those. We could, and I probably will do this, grab the meat that is here, because there is just tons of it sitting here deep frozen. So I might consider setting up something so that I can come over and grab it and keep it fresh until we get back to our main colony and drop off all that just so to resupply our meat supplies. I don't think we need to. I have a ton of food, literally. I still have 3 million cooked seafood. I still have almost 1 million surf and turf that needs to be processed. And we have thousands of food just sitting here. Literally, like 5,000 meals ready to go. I did bring in a lot of people that I'm training in the gyms. So we do have a bigger need for food over here, but I think we have plenty for what's going to be left of this playthrough, but that is an option. The other planetoids, I need to do 5, so that I already have 2, that'll be 3. I need to pick 2 more. I think that I'm going to pick going to Rikini, which is our marshy planet, and maybe the snow one or the rock one, just for setting up mini pods. Eventually, I want to at least get a rover landed on each of the planets, so because we need that for an achievement as well, and we also need to get down and get the artifacts that are in each of the bases. So we'll be going to all the planets, but I think for ease of doing this, we're going to start with, let's do this marsh planet first. So here we have this one, a hydrogen vent and a tungsten volcano. We have a jungle biome, a magma biome, a marsh, and the space biome. So those are the different things we have to play around with on here. But so as far as getting that set up, I'm going to be setting up 2 different rockets that we're going to be sending up there. We're going to be using the landers, we're going to be using the rovers, and we're going to get a rocket platform set up there so that we can land and then launch and come back after we get some things established. So first things first, I'm going to get some rockets set up here. So the first one, I want to have a Trailblazer module so that we can actually have a person land on our surface. And then after that, I think we're going to want to do, we only have 2 storage, but if I can take off one of these solar panels because I'm changing the interior so they only need the 1 solar panel. We'll do that on both of these. On this rocket, we're going to be adding in just orbital cargo modules. So this one is basically going to be, it's going to have a pilot, and that pilot is going to come over with these orbital cargo modules, and they only take up 2, which means we can squeeze in, after we take off this solar panel, we can fit 3 of them. So we'll be able to load it up with a bunch of things and then launch them down to the surface for supplies. And then, oops, this is the button I want. And then this rocket will be also in orbit. It will first send down the rover module. The rover module will open up all our supplies, and it will start digging and exploring some things out until its battery is gone. And then we will send down a duplicate in our Trailblazer module. So the things that we need to do to make this all work is we need to supply these rockets. We need to get the rover supplied so that it has a rover in it for us to launch. The Trailblazer supplied so it can launch down a Trailblazer. And we also need to make some changes to the interiors. This rocket we're going to change. This is still using our old style, so we're going to make a bunch of changes to it. But we need this to house 2 duplicates because we need a duplicate to go down in the Trailblazer and then another duplicate inside to fly it down to the surface to pick them back up. The other one, the Jerry, we're going to just set up one pilot in here to pilot things around. And so we're going to change up our system for oxygen storage so that we're ready to go in here. And Jerry's job will simply be to fly over and then launch all of our orbital cargo modules down to the surface and then return back here and land. Our rockets have arrived and it's time to start with our deployment. So Jerry's rocket has a pretty simple job. We are just deploying all of these modules down to the surface. And then we are changing his trajectory, head back home. He's done. Amy will be arriving with her and Fry in just a few minutes. Let's check their interior of their module, make sure everything's okay. We still have tons and tons of oxalite. We have nice breathable atmosphere. We have plenty of water for our bathroom. We have still plenty of food. They can be up here for quite some time, which means when they arrive at the planet in another 1/3 of a cycle, we can deploy our lander and they can just orbit peacefully for quite some time. So once we're in orbit, we can hit deploy and the lander will go down. It's time for us to deploy our rover. I'm not going to spend too much time on this as we have done landing on a planet before in this series, but when we did it the last time, we did it using duplicate lander. So this will be the first time we're landing with the rover. But basically, oh, it's already on its way down. So let's go down to the planet's surface. Basically, the difference is obviously that this puts a rover down. So here we have rover times 1. It gets 100 kilojoules of power, and when it's done with the power, it is done. We no longer have a rover. There are some limitations. If we send a duplicate down, obviously they can do all the things that duplicate has the skills to do. This rover is like a really basic duplicate, so he can't dig through anything hard. He can also only build basic things like ladders and things like that. He cannot build our rocket pad to land our rocket. So our goal here is we're going to go through, we'll get some of these supplies open. We can lay down the buildings for it and our rover can deliver the items to it. And then all we have to do when we send our lander down with our duplicate is have them come out, build the rocket platform, land the rocket, and then they can go back inside. So that's our goal. We just want to get a safe spot here for us to land. Looks like our spot with our artifacts is very close to the top here too, which is very nice. And I do kind of want to get an idea of what's going on here. So I'm going to do some exploration, and then we will come back once we have our duplicate landed so we can actually do some real building. Okay, I had a little bit of a problem there. My autosave caused a crash. Surprisingly, at cycle 6200, it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. But I'm back in. I did a little bit more exploration. We found experiment 52B, which is a cybernetic tree that will produce liquid resin if it's fed food. So that's something we may play around with. Liquid resin is used to make iso resin. And iso resin is used to make, come on, is used to make, well, you can make naphtha from it, but you can do that with plastics. That's nothing new for us. But you can use it to make insulate, which is how you make, build insulation that's made of insulation, or pipe that's made of insulation, which is a perfect insulator. And then it also can be used to make viscogel, which is really cool for doing some lock type things and some other different applications. So we'll probably try to get a little bit of iso resin, or not iso resin, liquid resin to take back with us. Or we may come back here to try to set up some automation to do it as well. I'm just trying to think around here. The only sources of renewable things we have here are hydrogen vent, and this is a tungsten volcano. We have the 2 tungsten volcanoes down here, and this one is one or the other. Based on looks of it, I think it's probably another hydrogen vent, just because it's in the same area as that one. So I doubt we'll even get down there and to dig it up. What we need now is for Fry to get back up here to build this rocket platform. Are you not able to get up there? Yeah, you are. I think it's time for him to sleep, though. This is what's going on. So yeah, he's going to run back down where there's oxygen so he can sleep. We'll get the rocket platform built. We'll get our rocket down, and then we'll give it a consideration as to what we're going to do going forward here. I think we're probably just going to grab the artifacts, maybe try to get a little liquid resin, and then head on out of here. And then this could be something we might do down the road, or something that people could play around with when I release the final save when I'm done with the series. As you can see, I'm back on Hazardato because I am getting ready to do an impromptu rescue mission. Here's the situation. So I was trying to figure out why I couldn't get this rocket platform built so I could land a rocket to go down and pick up Fry. And that is the first moment that I thought to look and see what Fry's skills are, and realized that Fry can't do construction. His traits, one of his traits, let's see, where do we see his trait? Under bio, is unconstructive, which means he can't do building errands, which means he's useless down here, pretty much. So I have 2 options that I could do. One is Amy is up here in the ship. And if it comes to it, she could abandon ship, which means that she would land on Bikini, and she could build the rocket platform and some other things to keep Fry alive. The issue is, let's see, Fry, his breath is not going to be a problem, because he is going to be able to breathe just fine. What is going to be an issue is food, and he can't build anything. And there's no calories on this planet so far. He can survive 6 cycles before he dies. Balm lilies aren't going to help us. He could... We have a plant growing here. I'm just looking around to see if there's anything else I can think to do. He could take out a critter, get some calories that way, because there's pacu fillet there. Are they able to eat just pacu fillets? Yes, they are. So if I can get him in here, that should be his mission right now. Come over here and get that fillet, because that's the only calories we have on this whole planet that you can consume. I want Fry to go and do it, because I want him to be able to eat that as soon as he gets there. So All right, Fry, head on over there. But back on Hazardato, I am getting ready to change a rocket up. Trying to think of what the easiest way to do this would be. I just need to get a rocket so that it can have somebody land on the planet. So if I take off these orbital cargo modules, let me do something else real quick just to see. It's 5 tiles to get here. So I can get somebody there and land them within the time that Fry is going to die. I think, if we hurry. So I need to get these off. I need to get a lander module installed. I need to get somebody else inside this rocket. And so I took out the bed that Jerry had. So I'm going to put in 2 cots. We're putting in another mess table. There's plenty of food. There's water in here. There's already 20 tons of oxalate in here. So we have plenty of oxygen, which means we can get this rocket there and have another person in it that can go down and actually build some things. So let's look at our duplicates that are on Hazardato. Beth can do construction. Beth is not already on a rocket. Let's send Beth up here. So Beth can go in here. Once she gets in here, we'll close it off. I want to be able to launch this rocket as fast as I can. So we are taking these down. We need to build a lander. We need more space. More space. And we need to get both our members in here. Beth's in here now. Unequip that suit. Let's assign this to Beth. We'll assign this to Jerry. This can be Beth's. This one is already Jerry's. So they're all set in here. This, I think I have it public, which is good. So once the rocket's ready to launch, we're good to launch it. So if we can get that off, let's get a Trailblazer module built. Set that to priority 9. We'll take this one off as well because we don't need it. So we get that built, we get it supplied, we can launch this rocket, and we can get it there, and hopefully in time that Fry will be able to survive. So while this is getting built, let's go back and check on him. Okay, so he came down here, he got to there. Where did he go? His calories are 3,071. There is 1,000 calories on this planet. Is it still down here? Or did he grab it? I don't know where he would be taking it. But anyway, we have 1,000 calories for him to eat. Let's look around at what other options we have for plants or animals that he can eat. I mean, I can get into here and I can have him take this down. That'll give me some barbecue. I have another one here. I think we'll be able to manage getting him a few calories, barbarian style, just tearing into some uncooked food. You able to get down there still? Yes, you are. Okay. There we go. It's coming down. Take it out. I'd really like to build you a dining table so you could actually eat somewhere civilized, but you can't build anything. Back to Hazardato. Okay, we're just going to get this built. We'll get it supplied up. We'll get this rocket launched. Hopefully get it there in time that Fry will not perish. Our makeshift rescue rocket is coming in for a orbital approach to Rikini, and we're about to send down our lander to get our rocket pad finally constructed After that, we're going to have to bring down one rocket at a time to pick up our duplicates, because for the trip home, I have a bedroom in each of these that will be empty. So let's deploy Beth. Right here should be fine. Oh, I think I just made the same mistake I just made before. I never learn. Beth needs to put on this Atmos suit. Preferably before she goes and gets in the lander. She's sleeping anyway right now, and I don't have the door open, so she can't. So we should be good. As soon as she gets up, she'll put on her Atmos suit, and then once she's in an Atmos suit, I will open the door for her to go out, and she'll get in her lander. All right, Atmos suited up. Door is open. Beth can leave, which means our lander is now on its way. So if we go down to Rikini, here's our lander coming. And this is high priority, so Beth should do it immediately. Excellent. That means we can bring in, let's bring in the Amy Wong first, because it's been waiting in orbit for quite some time. We're also going to need to build some ladders up. So let's go every other one. Beth will have to grab us some materials for that. Nice to actually have somebody who knows how to build. Building melted. Oh, thunder here. That's fine. That's not my building anyway. Let's go inside here. Amy... I don't particularly want to bring Amy out. Don't leave her in there. But this means... Pride doesn't have access to leave either, which is fine. So once he comes back in here, he will stay. So let's just assign him to a bed, if we can find him. Fry. And Amy. So that means that Fry will come up here and do his thing. They'll both be good. They have a toilet that's ready. And as soon as they're both back in, we can send them off on their way. And Beth can stay here and finish up some work for us. The main things we want to do are grabbing the artifact. So, can I just grab them and relocate here? Yeah, Fry will do that because he can get in. And then we'll bring in the other one here when we go back. Oh, no, Fry's going inside before he grabs it. So that means I'm going to have... Oh, no, the other ones can get in here because the default is to be able to get in. So Beth will be able to bring it in and drop it off. And then... we also want to grab the one on this side. Relocate into the Amy Wong. There we go. Everybody is happy. once we get that last artifact back in here, we can send the Amy Wong back to Hazardato, and then we'll bring down the other rocket to pick up Beth. You know, I just want to check, is there anything else we want to do here before we leave? We do have the tree. I think that I'm just gonna, I do want to come back and get some resin, but I think I'm gonna do it later, because now I have a rocket pad here. I can send a rocket over once I have a proper plan for doing it. And that will allow us to get some proper things set up here. I think that'll be good. We need to dig that tile too so they can get in. Okay, now that is pending a move. Beth is grabbing it, which is great. Okay, and now we can go and change the path of this rocket to take it back home. And come on. Now we can begin our launch sequence. Hopefully that means Beth is going to get out. Should. Yeah. Come on, Beth. Get off the rocket so it can launch. Or just stand there while it launches and fall down. That's a perfectly viable option as well. Stand right in the middle of the massive levels of radiation. Ah. Beth, how about you move? How about you move down here? I realize she has no tasks to do, but you would think that they would at least be smart enough to be like, I'm gonna get out of here. And we're going to set Beth to not be able to go back out once she comes back in. We're going to assign her bed and assign her table. Let's go back out to the colony and move you inside the rocket. That was a much easier rescue mission. And I am very grateful for that because it was stressful up until that point. So now all we need to do is bring this rocket, change its destination, back home. Oh, you know what I didn't do is I didn't set up any place to put a mini pod down for printing, but that's okay. We'll come back and do that. So for the achievement, let's just take a minute and check that out. This episode's already pretty long, but I just want to check it out. For the cluster conquest, we just need to land on all the planetoids, so we still have 4 to go for that. But for the imperative, the Great Escape, we have to establish a mini-pod. So we have one on the main colony and one on Hazardato. We now have Gasista has been explored, and we can easily land there to put down a mini-pod. And this one, we can also easily land to put down a mini-pod. So we need one more where we actually build a rocket platform to get a duplicate down. And so probably just because of easiness, we could do Rockiel or we could do Snowial or Snowera. And we can get a lander there, do the same process we did here, hopefully with a little more forethought so we don't send down somebody who can't build the rocket platform, and remembering to put on their Atmos suits in the process. But the other planetoids, Obsidial, Dampial, and whichever one we don't put a rocket pad on, all we need to do is send down a rover and explore a little bit, and that will finish off the achievement. So I think in the next episode, we're going to get a rocket pad landed on one of these, or at least one. We're going to get a rover landed on the other 3, and then we're going to get mini pods set up on all 5 of these asteroids here is most likely the ones we're going to do. And then that will finish out Cluster Conquest, which is our one down here. Mining the Gap will be finished here in just a minute because we are just waiting for these rockets to return. Once they've all returned, we will have finished that. So that will also be done in the next episode. And that just leaves us with GMO AOK, which is going to be one that I'm probably just going to have to do a lot of work off camera, but I will show you my process that we're going to do for that. And we need to finish the Great Escape, which is once we have finished the next episode, getting the mini pod set up, just sending somebody through the temporal tear. And then we need to collect all of our artifacts. And then we have finished our achievement run. So if we don't finish it in the next episode, it will be finished in the next 2 episodes. And then I may do an episode where I just go through and do a tour of all the things I built. I haven't decided yet. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see. But we're getting really close to wrapping this one up. After that, we're about to go into the holidays, and I'm going to have a lot of time where I'm not going to be able to do as much as I have been doing with travel and things like that. But I'm going to be trying to do as many as I can, but I'm going to be doing a little bit of a break before I start my next Oxygen Not Included series because I want to do some big plan ahead of time beforehand for the next series. I've already started laying out how I want to do it. We will see how that goes. I will be doing a little bit of the Minecraft stuff that I have been neglecting in the interim, and but if you're a fan of the Oxygen Not Included, do not worry. I have big plans going forward. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this episode. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.